Welcome to the weekly wrap only on KENS 5 Plus. I'm your host, Audrey Castellano. Let's get you up to date on some of the biggest stories of the week. At number 5 in our countdown, an American veteran who spent more than 4 years in a Russian prison is now back in the United States. Just after 2 Wednesday morning, our cameras were there as Robert Gilman landed at Kelly Field. President Trump says the Russian President Vladimir Putin agreed to release Gilman on humanitarian grounds with no prisoner exchange involved. Gilman was accompanied back to the U.S. by his mother. In 2022, Gilman was convicted by a Russian court of beating a police officer after he was removed from a train for allegedly causing a disturbance. Gilman reportedly suffered severe health declines during his years of detention. At number 4 in our countdown, on Tuesday, federal leaders toured the Toyota plant on the south side of San Antonio. The automaker will spend $3.6 billion to expand the plant. The project will add about 2.5 million square feet, effectively doubling the size of the factory by 2030. U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, Senator Ted Cruz, and Acting Labor Secretary Keith Sonderling visited the facility.
Taking the output of this factory from roughly 200,000 trucks a year up to 350,000 trucks a year. Those 150,000 trucks used to be manufactured in Mexico. Now they're coming to Texas. Now they're coming to San Antonio. And this is the fruit of common sense policies. This is the fruit of low taxes and reasonable regulations.
Toyota says the expansion will also create 2,000 new highly quality jobs in San Antonio. And at number 3 in our countdown, no change yet in the state's THC ban. A federal judge in Galveston denied an emergency request for hemp business owners and consumers to temporarily block the ban. They argued the state's rules conflict with federal law. The judge found they had not shown enough evidence of immediate irreparable harm. Another request for a preliminary injunction is still pending. All right, college students, they're headed back to campus this week. There's an important health warning for parents and teens. Meningitis, it's uncommon, but it can become deadly quickly. And young adults are most at risk. So as you're having those back to school conversations, it may be a good time to talk about meningitis and its vaccination. KENS 5's Jeremy Baker has more in today's Healthy Essay.
Meningitis is the inflammation of membranes around your brain and spinal cord that's caused by viral or bacterial infections. This condition is always a medical emergency and requires immediate medical attention.
Lucky as a parent that my daughter survived. Not always the case when it comes to meningococcal disease, but we quickly got educated and informed.
Patsy is from Austin. Her daughter Jamie survived a life-threatening case of meningococcal disease or meningitis, resulting in severe long-term complications, including amputations of both of Jamie's legs below the knee and all of her fingers.
I walked onto college campus at a high risk of catching this disease, and it impacted my life forever because I got sick with this disease.
The disease took a toll in a big way.
So I actually didn't get out of the hospital for 7 months. And when I got out of the hospital, I had a completely new body because I was an amputee.
It's particularly relevant for parents to know before sending their kids to college because among teens and young adults, kids aged 16 to 23-year-olds have the highest rates of this disease.
Some of the common symptoms of meningitis include a high fever, severe headache and stiff neck, sensitivity to light, confusion and sleepiness, and nausea and vomiting. GlaxoSmithKline's Ask to Be Sure campaign is a public health service aimed to getting attention to this deadly disease and to get families talking.
Created to help educate and empower parents of their teens and their young adults to, ask the questions about meningococcal disease and the risk and vaccinations that are out there.
To learn more about meningitis and the Ask to Be Sure campaign, head to this story on KENS5.com. In the studio, Jeremy Baker, KENS 5.
Great information there. The weekly wrap is back after this. I'm Audrey Castellano, your morning anchor at KENS 5. San Antonio has been a part of my story for as long as I can remember. It's where my family found its rhythm, where I'm proud to give back by working with our local nonprofits, because investing in our community is what keeps San Antonio strong. From sunrise to sundown, our city keeps moving. So when news moves fast, you need a team that moves with you. Make the move to San Antonio's #1 streaming newscast. Watch anytime, anywhere, weekdays 4:30 to 9 on KENS 5.
I'm Henry Ramos, your anchor at KENS 5. San Antonio's been home for nearly a decade, so I don't just report about our community, I belong to it. That is why we care so deeply about getting it right. And when local journalism is done right, it doesn't sit still, it moves. It moves us to act, it moves us forward, and it can even move our hearts. And at KENS 5, we're here for all of it. These are the stories that move San Antonio.
I'm Sarah Duran, your morning traffic anchor at KENS 5. Mornings start with strong coffee, good breakfast tacos, and a race to beat traffic on I-35. Born and raised here, I'm a proud graduate of Marshall High School. This is my home, so I know these roads and the best ways around them. From the rush on 410 to the backups along 1604, I've got your commute covered. Because when your mornings are on the move, so are we. Make the move to San Antonio's #1 streaming newscast. Watch anytime, anywhere, weekdays 4:30 to 9 on KENS 5.
Welcome back to the Weekly Wrap. At number 2 in our countdown, Bernie Little League is now heading to Williamsport for the World Series. This after a judge's ruling on Monday that let the team facing uncertainty onto the field and in the courtroom. Before Bernie punched their ticket to the Little League's World Series, officials had disqualified the Tulsa Little League team for using an ineligible player. But a Waco district judge issued a temporary restraining order reinstating the Tulsa team. Bernie was scheduled to play Tulsa Tuesday night to once again secure their spot, but just before the game time, a judge vacated the temporary restraining order. So now Bernie can prepare for its trip to the World Series that will begin next week. This will be the second time the Bernie team has made it to the event in the last 3 years. Good luck to them. A cluster mailbox in a Northeast Side HOA has been broken for nearly 2 years, and homeowners, they still can't get any answers on when it'll be fixed. The mailbox is in Hunter's Mill, and after months of waiting, one homeowner finally called KENS. Now Andrew Moore is asking, what's the holdup?
Local families say this cluster mailbox here has been broken since at least late 2024, and it's still broken today. The U.S. Postal Service says it is the HOA's job to fix this, so we reached out to both the HOA management company and the local board to ask, why has this gone on for so long?
We came out to check our mail one morning. The door was completely missing.
Corey Smith and other homeowners in Hunter's Mill have been driving to the post office to get their mail since September of 2024.
We would just like a new door.
Homeowners said they've called their local HOA board and the board's management company, Lifetime, about this.
I would call Tammy and leave a number, and she did not call back. I would call the homeowner, Lifetime. I would call Lifetime, your organization, and they don't return their calls.
And Corey said his family has also emailed Lifetime multiple times.
We don't get any responses at all, or if we get a response, it'll be something brief asking something along the lines of, well, what's your address?
And he was not kidding. The family showed us multiple emails to Lifetime, and nearly all of them went unanswered, and the only one that did answer was for an address. So finally, they called KENS 5.
You guys seem to step in and help out, and it's something we need.
KENS 5 first contacted the U.S. Postal Service about this issue, and the Postal Service told us not only was it the HOA's responsibility to fix the mailbox in this case, but they had already told the HOA it was their responsibility. They said in an email, local postal management has contacted the HOA responsible for the replacement of the cluster box unit in attempts to resolve this matter. KENS 5 then visited Lifetime HOA management in person, and we called the local Hunter's Mill HOA president, Tammy Wincott, on her cell phone. Wincott said she believed this was the post office's responsibility to fix, but she needed to get with her board before sending us any more information. KENS 5 told Wincott the U.S. Postal Service had already confirmed the HOA was responsible for those mailboxes. KENS 5 also contacted Lifetime HOA management until we got a response from them. A vice president with Lifetime eventually told us the Hunter's Mill board is having an attorney review the situation. The VP said, as this matter is currently under legal review, we are unable to provide further comment regarding the specific issue at this time. We will continue working with the association's board of directors and legal counsel to determine the appropriate next steps.
Everybody in the community that's dealt with it is just done.
Smith says after nearly 2 years, he and his neighbors or out of patience.
And to be clear, it is the responsibility of the Hunter's Mill board to make the decision to pay and fix this. Even Lifetime told us that board is supposed to be accountable to the community. For Call KENS, Andrew Moore, KENS 5.
That's frustrating. Hopefully they get it fixed soon. The Weekly Wrap is back after this.
I'm Barry Davis, your morning news anchor at KENS 5. San Antonio's been my home for 23 years. It's where I met my wife, raising my kids, and built a life I'm proud of. This city means everything to me. That's why I'm proud to be a part of a team that's committed to keeping you informed and connected. Because when news moves fast, you need a team that moves with you. Make the move to San Antonio's #1 streaming newscast. Watch anytime, anywhere, weekdays 4:30 to 9 on KENS 5.
I'm Isis Romero, anchor at KENS 5. San Antonio has been home for more than a decade. I don't just report about our community, I belong to it. That's why we care so deeply about getting it right. And when local journalism is done right, it doesn't sit still, it moves. It moves us to act, it moves us forward, and it can even move our hearts. And at KENS 5, we're here for all of it. These are the stories that move San Antonio.
I'm Paul Morellis, your morning meteorologist at KENS 5. You know, I've called San Antonio home for 23 years. When I'm not tracking storms, you'll probably find me on the Canyon Springs Golf Course or spending time with the family. I'm here to keep you prepared, whether it's heavy rain or hail downtown or gusty winds in New Braunfels. Whatever the weather brings, you'll know what to expect before you walk out the door. Because weather never stops, and neither do we. Make the move to San Antonio's #1 streaming newscast. Watch anytime, anywhere, weekdays 4:30 to 9 on KENS 5.
Welcome back. A piece of Black history found damage on the east side. One local civil rights leader believes it was deliberately targeted and that hate may be the motive. Now a cash reward is being offered for information leading to an arrest. KENS 5's Zach Briggs has a story.
We're just east of downtown San Antonio off of South Pine and Iowa Street. It was late July when a plaque commemorating Black history was found removed off of these sidewalk signposts. Former city councilman and longtime civil rights activist Mario Salas is frustrated. He adds that the sign's only been here for a year.
I've been involved in civil rights a long time, so I'm not surprised. If that was designed to scare somebody, it ain't going to work.
Once standing tall, this marker of Black history was ripped off its mount here in the Denver Heights neighborhood.
It was laying right here in front.
Mario Salas does not believe Mother Nature is to blame. He's confident someone did this intentionally.
I'm used to people committing racial acts of violence or racial vandalism.
The plaque, which Salas authored, tells a story of the fight for equality and struggles against injustice among San Antonio's Black community.
This particular corner, on all four corners, was Black history at one time.
The marker is a part of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee's Legacy Project. SNCC for short is a civil rights organization founded in 1960 by young Black students in North Carolina. The group once had an office alongside other businesses on this plot of land.
So the organization actually shared offices, which used to be a movie theater, with the Langston Hughes Afro-American Theater. It was a two-story building, and it was actually a stage where performers would read poetry and so forth.
Salas not only reported the suspected vandalism to SAPD, he also informed SNCC.
Their comment to me was, this is happening all over the country, that signs that have been erected memorializing Black history are being destroyed. So this is not just a San Antonio thing, it's happening everywhere.
And while police investigate, Salas is working toward getting this historic panel back in place.
To be able to tell people what was here, the history of a particular area is what's important. You'll need a tractor to take the next one down.
Meantime, the neighborhood's First Alliance is offering a $1,000 reward for any helpful information that could assist police in their investigation. On the east side, Zach Briggs, KENS 5.
And at #1 in our countdown, U.S. Representative Joaquin Castro and other Texas lawmakers are calling out 6 Bexar County cities to end their partnership with ICE. Those include Hollywood Park, St. Hedwig, China Grove, Balcones Heights, Sandy Oaks, and Von Army. The partnerships, authorized under Texas Senate Bill 8, allow local law enforcement officers to carry out certain federal immigration enforcement duties, like detaining people they suspect may be in the country illegally. Lawmakers argue small police departments are turning to these these agreements in part because they can provide additional federal funding. Castro said local police should focus on serving their communities rather than carrying out federal immigration enforcement. All right, thanks for joining us for this week's episode of the Weekly Wrap, only on KENS 5 Plus. Be sure to join us next week. We'll see you then. Bye, guys.